Hey everyone, welcome back to Beekeeping with Natalie, or welcome to if you are new. Today's video is going to be with Apame. I'm going to do another video about them because they have really good hives, and I have talked about them quite a bit. We've had bees in this hive right here quite a bit, as you can probably tell here in a second. There's just propolis all over it. I have yet to really clean it out yet, but it's still an insulated hive that works really well, and we're going to use it today because it's November 8th, maybe 8th, I think, and it's getting to the point where it's getting pretty cold. We've actually had some nice days where it's just been maybe in the 60s, close to 70s-ish, and it's been pretty good outside, but we're getting to the point where it's really cold, and at night it's getting down to like 30s and pretty chilly. So we're at the point in the season where we're just kind of combining hives and really making sure that they're ready to go into winter. And one of the things that we'll do is whenever we have a hive that we really want to get them through winter, or maybe it's the queen is a special queen, maybe there's just a certain kind of bees that you have that you want to keep them, whatever it is, and you just want to make sure they get through winter. And of course that's going to be most of your hives, but if there's just one specific genetics that you want to keep, sometimes we'll go and do like an extra thing just to make sure they make it through winter, and sometimes it means spending a little bit more money, and that's why we only do it on a couple of our hives. But I really do recommend Apame. I believe they'll be at Expo like they have been, and they just have really good products. They have some bottom boards that we use a lot. I've made some videos on those, pollen trapping and all of that. So I'm gonna show you how this works today. Again, I've done some videos on it, but if you want to buy something from Apame before it gets too cold outside and put your bees in them, or maybe get something at the expo, I don't know if they're doing pre-orders or not, but it might be something to look at. You can use the link in the description and use code Natalie2024 to get a small discount there. But let's go ahead and get started here. So this hive is actually one of the Corey Stevens breeder queens that we have. And it's probably one of the hives that we got out of, I can't remember how many it was that we brought home, but they're doing the best so far. So we're gonna try and get them through winter. They are only in a single right now, but that's okay. They were pretty small when we first got them. They were just a really small nuke that we built up over time. I think they're looking pretty good though, so I'm excited for today because not only are we going to move them in and I'm going to feel a lot better about them going into winter, but I also get to see the breeder queen, hopefully, see how she's doing, if they're still at a good point. But this will just it's an insulated hive. They're going to stay warm in here, and it will just kind of ensure that they will hopefully get through winter. Of course, there's that possibility that they won't, but it should help them out a little bit. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this hive. It's 60 today, something like that. It's upper 60s or so. And I don't know the whole thing on like certain temps, but I will say we get into our hives when it's around this temperature. It's okay. It might seem like it's cold outside, but it's really not, because these bees can be out in the cold for not 20 minutes or 15 minutes, but if we're just in and out, they're perfectly fine. Today I am going to be moving them over, but they still will be fine because it's really not that bad out. They're flying a little bit today. These girls aren't flying too much. The other day, actually, I will say this, maybe about a week ago, I think it was really nice outside, and because it's been so nice, the bees have just been flying a lot, which means there's a lot of robbing going on. So that's the only thing about the warm temps, is they're out and about. And so they're going into other hives and they're starting to rob. So this one I had noticed about a week ago when it was really nice outside, there was a lot of robbing going on. So I went ahead and just placed an entrance reducer here. And so that just kind of helps them out a little bit. That way they don't have this whole space that they have to take care of. So you can just kind of reduce it and put that down. So hopefully that helped them out a little bit. But you can see they are flying a little bit here today. I did also want to mention, this is the Hive IQ hive tool, and I just used it for the first time about, I don't know, like 3 minutes ago, and it's already dirty. So anyways, it's going to probably be a little bit of a mess by the end of the season already, but it's a really nice hive tool so far. It works great. I like the J-hook ones. Everybody knows the pink hive tool that I use. I know some people pretty much know me by that, actually. But I haven't been using it because I had lost it for a while, and then I found it. So anyway, I thought I would mention that. Hive IQ, I don't know a ton of stuff about them, but so far they've been to a lot of conferences. I've talked to them a lot. Their hives are pretty nice. We actually have a hive that I'm looking to put together and film a video on, so we'll do that hopefully soon here. But I just wanted to mention that they sent this to me, so I really appreciate that. So here are these girls. I did crack them open just right before, just to kind of see what they were looking like, and they looked pretty good. They've got a lot of propolis here. They are a little testy, as you can see just now, but pretty much all of our hives are that way. So, and it's getting cold outside, so nobody's really happy except me. But it's sad that the bee season's coming to, yeah, my mom hates the cold. I love it. I love it. Hoodies and just the cold weather and snow. I can't wait for snow. But it is sad that the bee season's come to an end, but it's exciting for next year because we get to prepare for that. Also means that the expo's coming up soon. We'll be having stuff out for that soon. We haven't really talked about that, but I'll be there, of course. We will, I don't know if I'm supposed to even say any of this, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. Oh, while I try to get this out. We will have a booth, I believe, and we're going to be selling t-shirts and hats and some other fun things that we're working on right now. So really looking forward to that. It's going to be here before we know it because we're going to have this whole season of holidays and it's going to go by really fast. Okay, so they have a frame feeder and they also have a bucket feeder. We've been mostly doing bucket feeding on top if they have that option. Yeah, so they are a little bit excited, but like I said, it's really not that cold outside, so I'm not worried about moving fast, but I'm not going to keep them open for like a long amount of time. But like I said, when they're flying like this, usually means that they're pretty much okay if we open up for a little bit. Okay, so if you've never moved a hive over into a different box, or if you maybe next year are going to buy some nukes and you want to move them into a 10 frame after a couple weeks of having them, whatever it is, pretty much the only tip that I have for that, or thing that I would say, is however it's placed in your box, just move it over the exact same way. So like this frame is going to go right here, just where it was already in there. That way you're not moving around their stuff too much. Also, just kind of, sometimes I won't keep it in the exact order that they have it. If they've got honey like towards the middle or something is just like a little bit messed up there, I will end up moving the honey out to the outside and brew to the middle. But like right now, I'm pretty much just going to move it over as it is. Now, I won't be too surprised if these outside frames aren't just full. I am going to feed today just to get something on there. It'll get to the point where it is pretty, so this is mostly empty here, but it will get to the point where it's pretty much, it'll get kind of too cold to be able to feed, but we'll be feeding for a little while here just until it's really cold. But one of the things that's really cool about getting in your hives when it's cold outside is if you just put your hand over the top of there, you can feel the heat that they're bringing up. So it's already kind of hot. And that's something we'll show later on with like snow. You can always tell if they're still alive because the snow is melted on top. But anywho, this one is filled with a good bit of food, so that's good. It's just shiny in there. I'm going to put this in. I'm going to keep my eye out for the queen. I can't remember which number she is. I want to say 17, but that might be wrong. But we'll find out. Okay, so this is nice and full. So that's a good frame. Really just moving this over. And another thing about moving over into a new box, I'll make sure at the end of this, especially if you're putting hives in Pro Nukes or maybe an Apame box like this, you really want to make sure that their entrance is open. So we'll check that here in a second and I'll kind of show you what that looks like, because there's a lot of features to an Apame box that I probably don't know all of it, honestly. Again, just another solid food frame.
You're going to be a frame short.
Yeah, I will be one frame short. I could just put the frame feeder in, but I actually have a stack of frames over there. I might go grab those and put one in here. The other day we went through and finally cleaned up the bee yard, and we actually have a really good amount of drawn comb that we'll be able to use. So she is 17. I got it right. So she's got this small patch of brood right here. And there she is, 17. with her green dot. I'm gonna go ahead and put her back in just to be safe. Don't want to have her out for too long. But yeah, it looks good. She has a lot of food in there and then a really small patch of brood, so that's good. We're gonna put her in here and continue moving them over. They've got a good amount of bees in here. It's not like crazy, but I think it'll be good for overwintering. Wow, they have actually a good bit of brood in here. So this is another thing you'll notice here. We talked about this, I don't know, it was probably a couple weeks after getting them and after the queen started laying, and I was talking about how it's a little shotgunny, the pattern wasn't very good, but you can see now her pattern is really solid. That looks great. Looks the same way on the other side here, so another small patch of brood. We're gonna put that back in. I'm actually really excited to see that. They're doing really good. So I'm just gonna keep moving these over. I think I'm gonna go grab another frame. They're getting a little excited. I thought about almost not using smoke today, and I was like, that's stupid. I'm glad we did. Propolis this time of year is crazy because it almost like dries out a little bit and then it's just like solid.
Propolis is always crazy.
Yeah, propolis here is just always bad. But this looks like she's actually laid in here.
Huh.
They usually slow down quite a bit this time of year, but she's still kicking a little bit, so that's good. I haven't checked too many hives. A little while ago, we did go through all of them and just kind of pushed everything together, made sure all the frames were there was as much frames in there as they needed, went through, make sure they all were laying, looking good, and so far all of them seem to be pretty good. So they're getting a little loud, so that's probably because I just moved the queen over. I might be a little bit confused too. But I will say one of the things about this, it's really nice to be able to kind of still be in the hives, especially this late in the year. Well, we don't really get that cold, like really cold, until January. So we've still got a little ways. Now, one of the things I have noticed about over here, and I don't know if it's because they're more shaded or what it is, but the beetles over here are a little bit worse. So I was gonna say also, the smoker went a little crazy there for a sec. Goodness. They are kind of like off in their own section just to keep them away from all the other hives, and it just kind of helps to know where they're at. But I have noticed the beetles are pretty bad on this one, so I don't know what that is. But I also have talked about that all year, how they've just been worse this year, so I'm not sure. But there's a good amount of bees in the box, so I'm just going to take it and dump them in there. Then there's still a good bit here. I might just give them a little bit of smoke, because I can't really shake that because it's a whole pallet. I do really like these pallets because that's another thing about, we've had a lot of wind, crazy like tornadoes, stuff going on this year. And I will say one of the things about these pallets is I think they do a lot better with the wind and blowing around when they're on pallets because they've got these clips here. So far we've been using these a lot more and they work really well. So I'm just trying to figure out how to do this actually. I don't know if it will fit. That's a lot heavier than I thought it would be. Holy cow. Dang. I wasn't even prepared. We haven't filmed a video in a minute. No, that's just gonna have to go on there. That might have been stupid, I'm not sure. There's definitely a bee in my veil. Where's she at? No, she's right there. Well, I can hear her sting in my shirt. Where's she at? We might have to clip this. We're cutting that.
Entertainment factor.
Oh, jeez. Anyway, we might cut that. It might still be in. I don't know. Let me count these. 1, 2. So there's 9. It's a 10 frame box, but I think all the propolis is making it a little bit harder. The other day I fully bent my hive tool, like completely. So the propolis, if that just says anything. Okay, there we go. What a video. It's been a minute. We haven't posted a whole lot. That's my fault, so I apologize, but finally got that Nashville video up. It took me about, if you ever watched it yet, that was filmed in like, how long ago was that? September. Whoops. But that was a fun trip. That was, the video doesn't even do justice of that boat ride. Okay, so these are the feeders that go on top, and they basically can get to it, I think it's like from the side, or down below of course, but something to do with this part right here. And yeah, so these spots right here, that's where they feed from. And I'm just gonna pour a little bit in here. The only thing about these is, like with a bucket, you don't have to worry too much about the leveling it out. But with these you do, because they will spill forward a little bit. You just gotta have to watch it, but I think it's kind of level. I might end up just get rid of this pallet and then move them off of it, because that doesn't look too stable. But this is just a little bit of syrup here. I'm gonna pour, I believe this is 2 to 1. So this is a pretty good amount. So you can see, like, it's not fully level, so it can be a little tricky with that. I'm gonna give them a good bit.
You put some in both?
Yeah, I'm gonna fill both of them up. You can just do one. I'm gonna do both of these. So if we do end up feeding this time of year, it's gonna be 2 to 1, just to really get something on there. We could do 1 to 1, but it's a little bit lighter. And this time of year, we're just trying to build them up as fast as we can, just a little bit more, and usually 2 to 1 does the trick. So that's what we're doing. And then it's just got these lids that go right on. So the feeding is actually really nice. You do want to make sure that there's no bees inside those feeders that are alive, and also no bees like outside of here, because I don't know if they've changed it or not, but usually there's no like escape once you put the lid on. So I try to get as much bees as I can out, that way they don't die in here. Then your lid goes on. And another thing with like wind and just, or if you're moving them, these Apame boxes are really nice because they clip in. So there's a clip on this side that you can clip it in, and they just work really well. I'm not gonna clip it, but with the entrance here, this is just what I was talking about. I wanna make sure it's open, so these just slide over. And I'm not gonna slide, I'm just gonna keep them open for now. And these bees down here, they'll eventually come out and go back in. But they shouldn't get too confused because their entrance is mostly at the same spot. So it should be fine. There's also an entrance right here. I'm not gonna keep that one open. I think if I can close this, I'm gonna keep that closed just so it's not like a ton of space. But there's also a little spot right there you can use, put a card in if you want to keep track of when they were last queenless, when they last put a queen in, or whatever it is. So there's just a bunch of little things to Apame hives. I don't know if she's inside or not. There's just a lot of little things that work really well. So again, there's the link in the description. I'll put the code next to it if you want to use it. And I think that's about it. So we'll hopefully do an update video on these girls coming out of winter. Hopefully they made it. Another small thing I want to mention, if you don't have any Apame boxes, but you want a hive to get through winter, you can also do a double screen board. And I hopefully will be doing a video on that at some point in the season, in the next couple of weeks to a month or so. We want to do that soon. That's just another way, so I'll hopefully do a video on that. If I don't, I recommend going to Bob Benny. He has a lot of good videos on it, and how to make bottom boards, or not bottom boards, double screen boards. I think he has some videos on that also. Anyways, I think that's about it. So thanks for watching today's video. Follow along more bee adventures, and be here next time on Beekeeping with Natalie.